morning, market snipers. This is Jesse. It's 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we have a lot to cover today. We're going to be covering Bitcoin. Is $26,250 the next target level? As you see right here, we're going to dive into Bitcoin. We're going to be diving into NASDAQ. Is the bounce over? Is it reversing back down? We've been talking about it possibly stalling out over the last couple of days. It pushed higher. It looked like it was starting to stall out again yesterday, especially on the lower time frames. And now it's down call it 1.1% down today so far. The Magnificent Seven, is the bounce over for Magnificent Seven? We got a lot to cover over there. NVIDIA has a pending reversal candle on the daily chart, and Tesla has a pending sell signal on the daily chart as well. So is the bounce over? That's what we're going to take a look at. We're going to take a deeper dive. We'll look at Bitcoin. We're going to look at Ethereum. We've got this line down here. Ethereum closed below here on the daily chart, right? So we're going to take a look at that. Gold bounced hard. Silver bounced hard. Will it be sold off, right? We're going to find out. Natural gas is breaking down, right? It had a great bounce, had a great run. Is it over? I don't know. We can take a look at it if you want to. The VIX is pumping hard. It's up 17% today. So we have a lot to cover. We're going to cover all this in the first 15 to 30 minutes. So we're going to get rocking and rolling here. And then the second half of the stream, we're going to start charting all your requests. So make sure to comment what requests you like. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Aldo. Good morning, everybody. Arnold, John. We're gonna get into all of that. We're gonna go through all the comments on the second half of the stream. Welcome back, super snipers out there, and let's dive right in. Let's dive right into the NASDAQ, and we'll circle back to Bitcoin. This is the daily chart, right? So we're gonna keep going through the recaps because that's what we do every single day. You got to be consistent. You have to be consistent. Is this the third lower high, right? It's too early to say. We're talking about this ahead of time, right? Let's do a quick recap. We had that bearish divergence, right? Had the lower high put in here. Price came down, hit target one, reversal candle, pushes up hard, right? Starts to lose momentum, and then boom, we're talking about this on the live streams that will this be the second lower high, right? It wasn't. Is this the second lower high, right? It turned out to be the second lower high, right? Price came all the way back down, hit this target down here again. So hit this target again, hit it again, found a temporary bottom. You can see double wick bottom, double closes down here. So double bottom, reversal, big push back up, started to lose momentum, right? We were talking about it here a couple days ago that it had this big push up, a lesser push, one last push up, one last fake out we were talking about it yesterday. That is looking like a bearish reversal candle as well. And now today we have a pending sell signal on the NASDAQ. We are talking about, the rest of the Magnificent Seven that could be holding up the NASDAQ, a lot, or, in general, right? And it looks like a lot of those are starting to roll over as well. Peter, welcome back. Good morning. Aiden, you got it. We're going to cover everyone. So, yeah, thanks for putting out RNDR, GDXJ, SI bullish daily and weekly. So we're going to get into all that. Tesla bearish 1 minute chart. Arnold, Tesla's got a pending sell signal on the daily chart. So it's not just the 1 minute chart. But, yeah, we're going to get into all that. So is this the third lower high, right? Or could it do something similar to this, right? That's what remains to be seen. I'm going to show you one chart that's related to the NASDAQ that it's probably more like this lower high than it is this double lower high, right? So this was like a rolling double lower high, and this is like a lower high, right? It's starting to look more like this, where you have this big move down, right? And so you get a candle close, back down below this area, then it's going to start looking more like that. So I'm going to show you that chart here in a couple seconds. Let's get through the S&P 500. But yes, it's starting to look like this is the third lower high. It's obviously not confirmed yet. If so, if we start getting back below here and put in another lower low, right? That's when it's going to be confirmed, in my opinion. So 14,000, call it 14,700 ish. You start getting daily closes back below here, and it's breaking down below this trend line, right? Start closing back below this trend line. Start closing back below the trailing dots. Those are all milestones that the bounce is over. Good morning, boss. Shooter, by the way, welcome back. Awesome. Good to see the snipers. Tesla John, we missed you yesterday, Tesla John. We were talking about you on the live stream. Not sure if you saw it on the replay crew, but John changed his name from John G to Tesla John, pending sell signal on Tesla, earning say on Wednesday. What's up? Okay. Yeah. I didn't even know that. We're just watching it and we're talking about it that well in advance that it looks like it could be putting in a lower high. We have a pending sell signal today. So I guess they're having boss. Have you seen Solana weekly? No, but it's on the list. You know, I put it on Solana has a sell signal yesterday, I believe, right? So we can take a look at it. So is this the third lower high? It looks like it could be, right? Too early to call it. Like I said, start getting closes back below the trending dots, below the trending line, and then take out this low here, this low pivot point here that had pretty much acted as support at this target area. Start closing back below. The probabilities will continue to increase. Too early to say of hitting this longer term target to the downside below $14,000. I know a lot of perma bulls would be surprised about that. It had this massive move, this massive run up. Eventually, you would think that price is going to come back, kind of fill this area in, hit some of these targets at some point, right? So that's what we're expecting, and that's what we're watching. S&P 500. Don't forget to smash the likes. Our goal is 100. We got 53 on a previous live stream, so that's our goal is 100. Help me, help you, help me. Let's get it going. Come on, everyone on here, smash the like button. If we got 100% likes of all the viewers, we would hit that goal, and we would double, if not 2.5x what our goal is. So I know we can do it. It's possible, right? Let's do it. 100 likes that we're trying to do. S&P 500 had the sell signal already yesterday, right? So it seems like it continues to lead the way, right? NASDAQ has a pending sell. S&P 500 already had a sell signal. We were talking about the pending sell signal yesterday. Dow Jones never even had a buy signal. So much more bearish overall, right? Never had it. It's looking like a reversal candle here, right? Looks like it's putting in a lower high, but it's too early to say. Maybe this was more of like one of these moves where kind of comes in, down, puts in a second, like rolling one. It's possible. Comes down like this, puts in a second one, and then rolls back down. So, you know, how this came up like this, right? It's possible that we see one of those, right? But as of right now, it's just this is a bearish candle. This is a bearish candle. It's just kind of trending down from there. So not much really to see there. Let's take a look at the weekly chart, right? Let's get off that. Let's erase that. Still bearish on the weekly candle, right? Had that breakdown, and this is it's temporarily holding support on this longer upward trend line that we drew out, and it's looking kind of weird right now because it might have been off of the daily chart. But it's right around this area. It's holding support. Is it just a matter of time? Is it letting the trending dots catch up? Is it letting the moving averages catch up, right? So that's what we're kind of watching. Is it letting the EMA catch up on RSI? Is it letting the MACD catch up on the weekly chart? It seems like it. It had that quick, big move down for a couple of weeks, and now it kind of like takes time off the clock. It kind of lets everything catch up, right? Consolidates sideways, does a little bit of a retracement back, and then you watch it to see if it starts to break down from there and continues down. But the trend right now is The weekly chart, MACD is trending downward. The EMA is trending downward on RSI. Had that RSI sell signal lined up nicely with the sell signal here on the breakdown of that trend line. Had the reversal candle back here in July. So none of this is a surprise to us. We've been watching, we've been covering it, we've been expecting this. So we continue to watch. Now, what we were talking about on NASDAQ, let's go back to there's still no weekly sell signal yet. So it seems like it's lagging time-wise, but it did have that MACD bearish crossover, did have that RSI sell signal, right? It's putting in the lower highs, putting in the lower lows, right? Lower low, lower high. Is this going to be that second lower high? And then do we see that next lower low and then get a sell signal? There was a pending sell signal at one time back here. There was a pending sell signal, but I'm sorry, back here on this candle, there was a pending sell signal and then it went away. So I think it's just a matter of time. And this is a bearish looking weekly candle as well, and it's still below the red trending dots trending down. So trapping some more bulls in, putting in a lower high on the daily chart. That's what we're continuing to watch. That's what we're expecting. You zooming out here, you got the 200-week moving average way down here at 12,300. The Russell 2000. So this is where I'm circling back. We're going to look at the Russell 2000. And you can see that the Russell 2000 looks like it could be closing back below this pivot point, and that's what we're going to take a look at right now. Down almost 1%. NASDAQ's down now almost 1.25%. So after this lower high on the Russell 2000, it's already looks like it could possibly have another close back below here, right? So that was a massive move down. This is another move down. It continues to be bearish. The MACD, even though it had a bullish crossover, is well below the zero line. So has it been leading the way, right? So the Russell 2000 has been well below the zero line. And we've been talking about this, that, maybe it finds support, but that's a lot of maybes. We had the reversal candle back here in July as well, followed by sell signal, followed by sell signal. And now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the 6th week in a row that it's going to close bearish, right? Close bearish. And then 7, 8, 8 out of, so basically, actually, if you look at it, you take off we had all these red candles. So only 2 had like bullish candles, or 3, right? Out of the last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Out of the last 12 weeks, there was only 3 bullish candles. So it's been pretty bearish ever since that MACD bearish crossover, even before that, starting there where you got the reversal candle, right? Leading the way. The reversal candle was leading the way. And then we had the RSI sell signal. We had the regular sell signal, the MACD bearish crossover, all of that. The trending dots continue to trend downward. It's closed back below the 200-week moving average. And so is it leading the way? RSI is on the weekly chart is back to it. The reading is 39. It's getting into more bearish territory, not less, right? It's trending downward. It's getting more bearish. Could it be a bottom? Sure. But that would be guessing, right? And that's not what we're here for. We're here to wait for higher probability reversals. And as of right now, this very steep trend downward, we're just watching it unfold. And we do have these longer term targets down to the downside. And I think many will be surprised if we see prices down here. We won't be. We're prepared for it. We've been ready for it for a long time. These were mapped out a long time ago. This was a key target support area, and it's back there from June 2022. We had these mapped out from all the way back up here. So from November 2021, December 2021, if you've been following me on the X app or the Discord since March 2022, you know that we've had these longer term targets mapped out all the way from the top up here on this weekly sell signal back here. This was a key target area. Hit it once, hit it twice, hit it again. The more times it retests it, the less likely this support holds, because it becomes weaker and weaker. So this is the next target area. I didn't even have to double check my targets. It's been so long. Is it slightly lower, or is it slightly higher, right? There's some moving factors in it. And so for now, we're just going to leave it, but I'll have to dive back into the deeper. But the MACD is bearish back below the zero line. RSI is bearish on the Russell 2000. Is the Russell 2000 leading the way? The Russell 2000 and Bitcoin was leading the way back in November 2021 as well. So nothing new there, right? So Bitcoin, right? Weekly chart, pending sell signal again on the weekly chart. Had that sell signal back here in August. Is this the lower high, right? After the bearish divergence, is this the lower high in the weekly chart? This was a lower low. So you had a low, you had a lower high with bearish divergence, whereas price made a slightly higher high. And then this is another low. So a lower low here, right? And then this would be another lower high and the first price lower high here, signaling that we would come back below this pivot point on the daily chart, back below the 200-week moving average, right? If you look at the simple moving average, I believe it's already below it, or it found support up here. It's higher up. I'd have to double check. But back below this EMA 200-week moving average and get back below this key support area, starts to do that, then this target becomes a higher and higher probability. So we're going to continue to keep looking at it. We'll continue to look at Bitcoin more. Gold, right? Gold has this, it has this massive bounce. It has a currently it has this pending reversal signal. Currently it has a pending buy signal, but is it actually going to be a reversal and break out to the upside after finding key support here at this second target, or will it be sold off and it end up being another lower high, similar to what silver was doing? That's something that remains to be seen. And if you look at the daily chart, it had a massive move up in one daily candle, right? So you have to keep in mind, this is the gold futures, right? So it's not just gold that's out there. It's not just physical gold. Once they created like gold futures and gold ETFs and all these paper gold versus just regular spot gold, it became paper gold with all these trading with options and all that stuff, right? So it changed the game. It's not just a matter of spot gold. Same thing with Bitcoin, right? So this is not just spot Bitcoin. So if you're trading Bitcoin based off of just spot Bitcoin from 2013, everything is changing ever since, they came out with the first Bitcoin futures in 2017, right? They created paper Bitcoin at the end of 2017, and slowly it's been changing to more of a trading asset, similar to gold, versus like 2013 buy and hold Bitcoin, and it's just up only from there, right? So it's becoming more and more of it's great for swing trading, right? We're swing traders, and it doesn't mean it won't continue to go up, but they did create paper Bitcoin, same as paper gold and paper silver. So it is a trader's market now, and that's what we're here for. We've been trading it since late 2020, and then mostly in early 2021, all the way through 2021. So we'll continue to watch it. But this is gold. It had this huge, massive breakdown, and now, a lot of probably late shorts, right? This is getting back up, all the way back up into here. Is this going to hold for the day, or will it close back below and then start to roll over from there? It remains to be seen. A lot of these high leverage shorts came down, right? And maybe they didn't take profit, but the big players most likely took profit here. And then as it starts to reverse, all the smaller players are getting wiped out, right? So if they're holding shorts, they're all capitulating, right? Back up to the upside. And then a lot of times what happens is, comes down, comes back up, wipes everyone out. And then they're out of their short positions, and then ends up just rolling back over, and they missed out on all of that, right? So it's possible. you still have this longer term downward trend line. And at the end of the day, it could still close back below here and be a lower high. So it, when there's high leverage game being played, in the pros, you have to know when that it looks like it's starting to stall out right here, even below key target area. Looks like it's starting to stall out. At what point do you take profit, right? At what point do you close your short positions, right? Somewhere around here, if you're expert level, right? If you're getting up here, at some point you're going to be taking profit, and that actually turns into buyers, right? So you got buyers, and closing short positions actually turns into buyers as well. So it's called a short squeeze, right? You got the short squeeze on. So that's gold. It remains to be seen if it's going to actually break out to the upside, if the reversal candles, if these pending buy signals are all going to hold, because it's pending. There's no closes yet. But most likely, if you're in a short position on gold, you already closed it, right? Especially on the daily chart, you're watching it. At what point, you're seeing it break down to 19 on RSI. It starts to reverse back a week ago, right? Starting to reverse back around, right? Starting to get relative strength, buy signal, on the RSI, and continues higher and higher, right? So at what point do you close your short positions, take profit, and then wait for the next move, right? So that's gold. Silver, very similar thought, right? We were talking about it. We drew it out. At some point, would it come all the way back up? Even before this move here, we were talking about it. It was below the 200-week moving average, right? Would it come all the way back up? Maybe back test this upward trend line because it had just such a massive move down. Would it come back up, kind of retest it, put in a lower high at some point, and then roll back over? We don't know, right? We also mentioned yesterday, before this big move up, would this ultimately be the ultimate bear trap? I don't know. It's too early to say. I'm not in a position as of right now, but that's gold and silver. Let's jump over to the Magnificent Seven because it holds a lot of weight in the markets, right? And Nvidia, we talked about it. It's on the ticker scroll that we have a reversal candle on Nvidia, right? So Nvidia, this is our drawings from yesterday, right? We were talking about it. Like we had that bearish divergence, and we knew at some point on the bearish divergence, either it's going to be continued bearish divergence, or at some point there's going to be a lower high that gets put in. So price came back down to the same target area. And then at what point do you take profits on your shorts, right? At what point do you take profits on your shorts? And then it continues to bounce up, right? Continues to bounce up. And then at some point, does it start to stall out, right? You got big momentum push up here, less momentum, starting to look like a reversal candle that we were talking about. It's starting to look like a bearish candle, right? And then today we have a pending, the day hasn't closed yet, but we have a pending reversal candle on the daily chart, right? We drew this out, at some point there's going to be a lower high that possibly could be put in, right? Is that now, right? Is today the day that this, in hindsight, is the reversal candle? And doesn't mean it couldn't push up another wick higher, right? It's always possible. Or continues to push up and puts in another reversal candle. Doesn't always call the exact reversal. If it did, we'll be billionaires by, within a year or 2 years, right? We'll be billionaires if the reversal candles were perfect 100% of the time. We'll be billionaires in no time, but it's not always 100% accurate. So we have to take in the other TA into consideration as well. But I do like it more and more, right? I am starting to like it more and more. So will this have a reversal candle? Will this be the lower high? We're talking about it, right? So it's possible that this ends up being the lower high that we're watching for patiently, right? And then we're going to watch it, see if we get a sell signal. We're going to watch it to see if we see price closing back below this trend line, this more vertical trend line. I always say steeper, but it's more of a vertical, it's not a parabolic trend line, but a more vertical trend line started closing back below. And then you got this longer term upward trend line. That's when we're going to start to think that, hey, we're going to come back down and start hitting this target, start closing this gap, this 20% gap that we've been talking about. Sooner or later, I'd be very surprised if this 20% gap doesn't get closed out. That's at $306. Even if it's a partial gap at 307, 308. We know the big players love to do that. We saw it on Apple, comes all the way down. Everyone's expecting a fill. A big player front runs it, just misses the partial gap, takes profits. It gets a massive bounce, a massive rally. The bull run is back on, right? Puts in another lower high somewhere down here. Never fully fills this gap until later on. It takes time, right? It takes time. We've seen this play out before. Don't be surprised, right? Oh, it didn't fill the gap 100%. Well, we know that someone's taking profit. I front run it sometimes. I'm not the huge big player. I'm not the whale doing it, but I know that whales do this. And so I swim as one of those cleaner fish with the sharks. I don't swim against the sharks. I don't fight the sharks. I swim with the sharks. I do my best. And then we're the cleaner fish latched on to the biggest, baddest sharks in the land. And we know that at some point they're probably going to take profit around very close to a big major target like that. It finds support. They play it back to the upside. They take profits again, rinse and repeat over and over again. They continue to take retail's money. We don't want that. We're trading the markets as snipers, and we want to trade along with them, even though we're not one of the bigger players. Meta looked a little bit different. So Meta put in the additional bearish divergence, right? So you got bearish divergence going all the way back here. We're at 27 minutes, so I'm going to try to get through these last charts pretty quickly, and then we're going to roll back through all the comments. Good morning, Hermilo. I hope I'm saying it correctly. Hermilo, good morning. Welcome back. Great work, my man. You got it. So we had the bearish divergence going all the way back to June 2023. Let's trap bulls one more time, right? We're talking about it. Is this a lower high? Too early to say. Is this going to be another lower high? Too early to say. Then it broke out to the upside, right? RSI would be putting in a lower high here. This is where many of the quote unquote expert traders get it wrong on divergence, that they think that this was it and they don't call it as future bearish divergence all the way over here. But I do, right? And some of the tactics that I have in divergence, you can't find in a book. You can't read it in a book. It's just based off my own observations. And even one of my favorite discoveries is of where using divergence of where price could come back to. And I talk about it and do a deeper dive in recorded coaching for more than an hour. It's one of my favorite discoveries that have come that you cannot find in a book. I've had quote unquote experts fight me on this. And I said, wait and see. We'll see what happens. And then I call them out when it happens. So I'm sorry, you can't read it in a book. You have to actually go to recorded coaching and find it there. But however, we have potential bearish divergence, right? It's currently bullish right now, but it looks like it's possibly breaking down. And this would be, in my opinion, a reversal. And so we'll find out if we get some sort of a reversal candle. We're going to find out. And then, of course, the higher probability is after bearish divergence, there's a reversal or a lower high put in at some point. So we'll see what happens. It's still holding on the weekly chart. But again, remember, as a reminder, MACD did have that bearish crossover. And there are pretty massive bounces while the weekly chart is still bullish. As you can see, the breakdown, massive. On the weekly chart, in hindsight, this could be a lower high, right? Whereas the daily chart is looking like bearish divergence, the weekly chart could have some sort of a lower high put in, and this candle is starting to look very bearish So if it starts closing back below with that type of a wick, that's going to look very bearish and lines up with, the MACD just kind of letting things catch up, the EMA kind of flattening out, and then see if this ends up being the lower high in the weekly chart. That's what we're waiting and watching for. Amazon pushed all the way back up on the weekly chart, hit the trending dots, and is pushing back down, right? So pending sell signal on Amazon daily chart, you had the bearish divergence followed by the breakdown. It's profit taking right just above my key target box, just above the 200-week moving average. Big surprise. I'm not surprised, right? None of us are surprised. Will it put in this lower high? Will it be like one of those, fake out lower highs, come back up and have like a second rolling lower high? We don't know yet, but there is a pending sell signal to be aware of. Will it be more like this? Oh, let me change that back. And then kind of bounce, put in that second lower high, retrace back up, and then come back over. Too early to say, but Amazon weekly chart, the week closes today, starting to look pretty bearish with that huge wick. And then, of course, you got the MACD crossover longer term and the RSI sell signal and the EMA trending back down. So, and after it was a good rally, right? This was a long rally. Like if you look at the MACD, it's had a bullish crossover since January 2023. Massive rally weekly. It's just looking for a pullback, a correction. We're going to find out on Amazon. Microsoft. And we're covering Magnificent 7 because we were just waiting for like bounces and stuff to kind of end. The last couple of days, not much had changed. Weekly chart still trending down. Daily chart, is this going to be a lower high on the daily chart? Again, we were talking about, could this be it? And then it wasn't, right? And then we talked about, would it have that, second kind of rolling over high, what I was just talking about on Amazon? Possible, right? So this would be a lower high, right? So we're going to find out. If it starts closing back down below here and we start to see a pending sell signal in Microsoft, just as we are with, the other Magnificent Sevens are starting to look like that as well, then that's what we're going to say is that, breakdown after bearish divergence, come back down, lower high, getting sold off, right? That's what we're going to find out. So again, MACD had that bullish crossover, but it could also put in like that lower high and start to roll back over and get back below the zero line, right? So that's what we're waiting and watching for. So today will be key. Tomorrow we'll see if, or not tomorrow, but Monday, the next trading day, we're going to find out if that's it. If that was it for the rollover, and it starts to roll over from there. Tesla, we were talking about this. Tesla, John, missed it yesterday, but you were here on the previous live streams. We were talking about it. We'll put in a lower high. This was looking to me like very similar to silver. And then what happened with silver was that after it started to break down, after it had a pending sell, not saying it's going to happen exactly like silver, but it was interesting that it was like going through this consolidation period where it was kind of like getting like tighter and tighter and tighter on silver. And then all of a sudden silver just flushed back down and then end up going all the way back down below the 200-week moving average. I'm not saying that's going to happen on Tesla, but if it did flush down and get like, a close back below here and put in a lower low after a lower high, and then see if it puts in a lower low back down here, then you're looking at, continued higher probabilities that we see prices come back down to these levels. So let's look at, it's probably getting close to, in the near future, possibly another MACD bearish crossover. Right now, it's got a pending sell signal. This is a lower high. This could be a lower high, and then we're going to find out if it's going to start taking out these pivot points here. And if so, that's when you can see Tesla start to get more bearish from that point. So you get a candle close here, the way it is right now. You'd have a sell signal. You'd have a second close below this more vertical trend line, shorter term trend line. So the probabilities would be continuing to stack that Tesla would start to drop back down, get a close back below the trending dots, and then see if it start to break down from there. So that's what we're watching on Tesla, Apple, right? So that's what we're watching on Apple, and then very similar thoughts. So then you got Google. So Google had that additional bearish divergence on the daily chart, and you can see it had a candle close below, right? Very sneaky one, or just barely under it. And then now, kind of map this out where wherever that lower high or that bearish divergence would be, continue to break down from there. On our side, this would be the additional bearish divergence that we're talking about on the weekly chart, right? If the weekly chart closes back below, well, weekly chart already had bearish divergence as well. So it could all be bearish divergence, even on the weekly chart and the daily chart. So we're going to find out if it's the very beginning stages of it to continue to break down, right? And then at some point, we're expected to put in a lower high, right? So that's where we're at. You can see going all the way back here, bearish divergence, right? RSI continues to put in lower peaks while price continues to put in higher highs, right? Diverging. Eventually, price catches up, right? So eventually, price is going to catch up, and then we're going to find out on Google. That's pretty much it there. Let's go back over to Bitcoin, take a look, see what's happening. Right, still waiting for the EMA to kind of catch up on the daily chart. We had that MACD bearish crossover, kind of letting MACD catch up there. Maybe it's kind of putting in like some sort of a bearish flag here, right? Kind of letting everything catch up. The moving averages catch up. It was a big move down on the sell signal. Let the trending dots catch up, all that stuff. So I put on here that Ethereum that is already having daily closes back below this last pivot point. So this last pivot point that looks very similar to Bitcoin on Ethereum, and we can take a look at it. It's already having daily closes back below. So will Bitcoin start having daily closes back below here? If so, it's going to start closing back around that $25,000 range. Then it looks like it's going to come back down this 200-week moving average. And then we'll talk about getting into target 3 and then possibly target 4. Again, I just combined two longer term targets into one. But until we get to that point, we still have to hit this target, this shorter term target, and then we'll watch to see if it continues to close. If it starts closing back below this daily blue line here, as you can see here on Ethereum, had this close here, kind of back tested it. Will it kind of push off and start having another second close back below it? Start to trend back up, maybe even fake out back up to the upside, let the trending dots catch back up, and then possibly continue to roll back over. As of right now, this longer term upward trend line, it kind of bounced off of it. So we're going to find out what happens. But as of right now, it's continuing to trend down on the MACD. It's below the zero line. It's more and more bearish, right? So it rolled over from here, kind of battled back up to the zero line, and then broke back down and reversed back down, trapping additional bulls to the upside. Is it trapping bears to the downside, or is it going to continue down and hit this target down here? We're going to find out. It just takes time, but the probabilities are continuing to increase. We mapped this out back up here, and then we had a candle close back below. So that's Ethereum. We're going to take a look at Solana. Had the sell signal, right? It's trending downwards, kind of letting the EMA catch up. MACD had that crossover. It's trending downwards. Again, Ethereum had a daily close back below here at just below $18. So will Bitcoin, Solana, and other crypto assets also follow Ethereum? Is Ethereum leading the way? If so, I'm holding my Bitcoin short, right? So we'll find out. Hopefully, since I am holding the Bitcoin short, obviously I'm rooting for it to happen. So if you're just a Bitcoin hodler, I apologize, but that's part of the game, right? So Chainlink, I took an allergy pill, but geez, Chainlink. We were talking about the pending sell signal yesterday. It had a sell signal. It turned into a sell signal. It's trending downward. You got the MACD trending downward. You got the EMA and RSI trending downward. So was that it, or will it find support and bounce? Chainlink looks a little bit different just because the weekly chart is more bullish. But so could it come back and find support, right? Could it come back and find support and then bounce? It's possible, right? But as an awareness that Bitcoin is breaking down or broke down, and Ethereum is breaking down further. So is Chainlink one of those one-off assets, or has it just been outperforming, or is it in a different stage? So we trade each chart differently. So we're looking at Chainlink as it's possible that it comes back down below here and starts closing back below. But the difference is the weekly chart looks a little bit more bullish. So we're going to find out if it finds support and then continues onward or not, right? So that's what we'll find out. Cardano, again, Ethereum is has already closing below this pivot point here. Here, let me make that a little bit better, right? So closing back below, will Cardano, Matic, Ethereum's already closing back below here, right, on the daily chart on this double bottom. Is this going to be a triple bottom, or is it going to continue to close below like Ethereum? So that's what we're watching. One thing, the VIX was starting to pump, right? It was up 17%. So the VIX on the daily chart, we talked about this on the breakout. VIX is a wild animal, and I over exaggerated big moves like this, right? And it's not too far off, but we did draw out some crazy, like, huge spikes and just continue to spike higher and higher. This target hasn't been hit yet, but there was another buy signal, and just minutes ago, or 30 minutes ago, there was this big spike up. So it could continue to spike up, drop all the way back down, and then come up and hit this target. And then we find out at that point, does it break through it and all this resistance flip into support and then continue after that, right? That's what we don't know. So that's what we're going to continue to watch. That's the VIX. 10-year yield was breaking down, came back up. Is this a lower high, right? Are we going to continue? We talked about this on previous streams. Would it continue to correct and then find support on the trend line and break back up? Or could it come all the way back down and then rally from there, right? So that's kind of what we're watching. But we watch bearish divergence, right? Then we had a reversal candle. So we had bearish divergence followed by a reversal candle, broke back down, faked back out to the upside, could be putting in that lower high, and then we'll see if it breaks back down from there. All while the MACD is breaking down from there, right? It had a bearish MACD crossover. Weekly chart is still currently bullish. Keep an eye on that, right? The monthly chart, which takes time to play out, is still currently bullish, right? So still currently ultra bullish. So it's possible it still finds support. It remains bullish on the daily chart, similar to this, right? It was ultra bullish, then went bullish, and then went ultra bullish, could go bullish, and then find support, and then attack to the next target to the upside above 5%. So we'll see. Dollar continues to be bullish on the dollar, right? Big move up, correction, back above the trailing dots, right? That's the monthly chart. Weekly chart is still bullish, right? Has hit 3 out of the 4 targets to the upside. Will it hit that 4th target up there? It's still bullish there. So we're going to go back to the comments. Let me know if you're still here. You want me to take a look at your charts. We've got it. Good morning, Market Snipers. Morning, Olson. Aldo, back again. Button has been smashed. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. We're still here grinding on a Friday. Thank God it's Friday. TGIF. What we're doing today is we're subscribing. We're hitting the like button. Hit that like button over and over again. Help me, help you, help me. That's what we're doing today on a Friday. I'm going to put out a bigger, not a bigger, I'm going to put out a second part 2 video probably tonight. Worst case tomorrow. But see how I'm feeling, see how time plays out. But will the stock market crash and will it impact Bitcoin, right? We put that out 2 weeks ago. Take a look at that video. It's still valid. It's still what I'm thinking is a very strong possibility. And we talked about this Bitcoin video. Go check out that video. And then this Bitcoin fractal as well. Is it playing out again, right? Or the Bitcoin crashing? Like those key videos you want to take a look at. And so I most likely will cover Bitcoin and the stock market crash part 2 again. But you'll definitely want to take a look at this one because what I'm going to be doing in that one is showing some major stocks as a follow-up to this that some major stocks that have come back to key levels. So I set the stage here, and then I'm going to be showing you the follow-up to that. So I think it's important that you go check out those ones. But that's what I'm going to be doing either tonight, see how I'm feeling, or tomorrow, worst case, like I did on that one. I did that one on Saturday as well. And I'll send it out through the free newsletter. So make sure you're subscribed to the free newsletter. And with that, let's go through the comments. Let's see. Comments, where are we at? We've got Tesla, bearish 1 minute chart. Yep, you got it. Pending sell signal on the daily chart. Arnold, welcome back. Super sniper over there. John, thoughts on GDXJ? Bullish, but weekly still bearish. Probably similar thoughts, John, as the gold futures and silver futures. We can take a look at it if you want. But it's probably very similar, right? It's too early to call it. I would kind of watch how gold and spot gold play out. Does this massive bounce? Because it is a massive bounce. So it kind of feels like it's more of a, it's too early to say. And we don't know yet, right? So is it a reversal and it's going to take off to the upside? Or was it a short squeeze and it ends up putting in a lower high? If it's a breakout, I think there would still be time, right? Because it would come back down, put in a higher low, and then break out to the upside, right? Most likely. It wouldn't just shoot straight up to the moon. It's possible, but I think it's less likely. So it's kind of a wait and see for me. And I would want to play it myself as well. But as of right now, it was such a fast and strong move on gold futures that it seems like it would be like sold off and like ends up just putting in a lower high and then comes back down. So it's too early to say. However, it doesn't mean that's it and the bottom is in and then it breaks out to the upside. So, but what I think what would happen is this was a big move down, it's a big move up. So if this isn't how it plays out, right? I think this is like 1A, but 1B, like the second thought would be it kind of comes up, gets rejected, and then it comes back down at some point, puts in a higher low, and then that would be the breakout, right? Or maybe it just breaks out, traps some more bulls to the upside, then comes back down, then puts in that higher low, and then that's the real breakout at that point. So I think this is like 1A, just because the 200-week moving average came down here, and that's kind of what silver did. But 1B is, hey, if this is going to be a breakout to the upside, at some point it's going to put in a higher low, and that's when I would be waiting. That's when I'd be more confident. So on a big move like this, and if it's going to be a bigger time breakout to the upside, I'm going to wait for that higher low to be put in, and then I'm going to trade that, right? And then I will trade that to the upside, and I'll be ready for it. As of right now, it could just be a lower high, right? Wherever that's at, a lower high, and then you'd be playing it to the downside, right? So, and then if you see it to start to stall out here, if not, you continue to push it back down here. So that's my thoughts. So maybe gold futures is leading the way, and then you can kind of see how gold futures plays it, and then dive in deeper to GDXJ, right? So if that kind of answers your question, great. If not, let me know. I can look at GDXJ, but use gold futures or gold spot as like what's happening. One thing to think about is that, the MACD is crossing over, right? But it is in bearish territory. So will it cross over, get rejected here, and then come back down? Or is it starting a new trend, right? And it comes back down and then flips back out again. And that's kind of like the move. Or, let me make this a little bit better, right? So you got it like this. So maybe it does something like that, right? And then breaks out. So it's kind of a wait and see. That's kind of my 1A, and this would be my 1B, right? Where it is going to be the bottom is in, but at some point it's going to put in a higher low. So that's what I'd be waiting for. My guess is it's a bounce until weekly goes bullish. Exactly. So that's what I'm talking about. I have to assume it's just a bounce. It's a short squeeze for now until the ship gets turned around. And at some point, it doesn't. I'd be very surprised if it just goes straight to the moon and never puts in a lower high, right? That's real. That's reality. So the reality is, at some point it puts in a lower high. But I mean, is there always that one time that it just goes straight to the moon and puts in a new high here at anything is possible, but I just think it's less likely. Aldo, you're still here. In your opinion, what would you need to see to call bottom on TLT ETF? A higher probability reversal. So waiting for that weekly chart to start to flip around. I need to see, not only a buy signal on the daily chart, similar to the Bitcoin bottom. On the Bitcoin bottom, we saw bullish divergence on the weekly chart. So it takes time. Doesn't mean there won't be bounces along the way in the bottom, but I like to see, early signs is going to be bullish divergence. Otherwise, relative strength on the weekly chart. We can take a look at TLT if you want. Let's take a look at it since we're talking about it. But I would want to see, more of a longer term reversal, and that way it's a higher probability. So when I take an entry based off the daily chart, it's also because the weekly chart is starting to turn around. So let me type it in here. I know I have it on the watch list. I'm pretty sure, but just for saving time purposes, yeah, there it is. So we kind of drew this out already in advance, Aldo, on previous streams. So on the daily chart, right, there's a MACD bullish crossover, but it's well below the zero line, right? Still in bearish territory. There is a buy signal on the RSI, but it's still in very deep bearish territory. Not so much on the daily chart because it's back to 43, right? And there's closes back above the trending dots. But you can see like the trending dots it's going to take time for the ship to get turned around. Will there be bounces along the way? Right? Oh, let me get off of that. Will there be bounces along the way? Definitely. But you got longer term downward trend lines, right? What if it takes all this time for the ship to get turned around and then have like bigger bounces, right? So could there be a bigger bounce along the way? Sure. But there could be bullish divergence, right? So let me clean all this up. So we kind of went through all this on previous live stream. But just a kind of a quick recap. If there's long-term bullish divergence, you could see the bounces like this for a long time, right? And it continues to put in lower prices. So do you want to guess the bottoms in? I don't. And you still have like all this downward longer term trends, right? maybe you get a larger bounce here, you know, when it breaks above this trend line, right? You got some gaps to fill up here, right? Maybe it fills gaps, but then you got this longer term downward trend line, right? So maybe you fill gaps, maybe you get some massive retracements to the upside and then drops all the way back down. And this could take months to play out, right? So if we look at the weekly chart is currently ultra bearish, right? The trending dots are way up here. So you can see bounces along the way. But what if it puts in long-term bullish divergence and you're back down here, right? So it's possible the bottom is in, but I'm not guessing, right? Could this be long-term bullish divergence? Definitely. Could there be long-term future bullish divergence? Definitely. So where I would see it as, like, say you got bullish divergence. No, I'm sorry. That's not bullish divergence. No, is it? Yeah, it is bullish divergence, but it's such deep bullish divergence that it's just so bearish right now. Like, I'm not even thinking of buying the bottom, right? You just have like this long term. It could take. What if this is long term bullish divergence way down here, and you're talking about like a year from now, right? It's possible. At some point, it's going to put in a lower high, right? At some point, it's going to put in. I'm sorry, a higher low. I always do that. You know, I always do that. So at some point, it's going to put in a higher low, and at that point, if you're putting in, if it's putting in like a higher low like this, and then it's breaking out of a key trend line, this is what I'm waiting for. This is what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in here. I'm not interested in here. I'm getting more interested here, but this is where I'm interested in taking a long position. And that's where I was interested in on Bitcoin as well. So if you go back to Bitcoin bottom, that's where I was interested in. Um, I was aware of here. I was aware of that there could be bullish divergence here. And then at that point, I'm starting to get more and more excited, talking about it, talking about it, talking about it. We had a buy signals on the daily chart. And then I took an entry at 16,800 based off the daily chart. That was starting to reverse back around. So what if TLT is here and then it's takes bullish divergence all the way here, and then it doesn't even really put in. There was like a sneaky higher low here, right about where there was the daily chart was breaking out. So that's where I was looking for. I wasn't looking for a long position here. So maybe on the lower time frame from a shorter term bounce, but not from like the trend reversal overall. Because look, you can see the trending dots way down here, right? And then it goes through a bottoming phase, right? And then I'm looking for the rally after that. So that's what I'm interested in. But great question. Great question. Got me off on a long run. Peter, good morning, my man. These daily live updates have brought me back to more active trading. Keep them coming. Hopefully that's a good thing, right? We want everyone to be profitable. Obviously, none of this is financial advice. So you have to do your own due diligence, do your own research, dial in your strategy, have all of your everything lined up, your take profit, your where you're wrong on a trade, stop losses, all that stuff dialed in. Welcome back, Peter. It's awesome to see you back in the Discord again. It's awesome. Aiden Cole, welcome back to the channel, RNDR. All right, Aiden, are you still here? Let me know if everyone's got follow-up questions as well. Emmanuel, West Diddy, welcome. Babster Loafman is back. John, yeah, that answers. Okay. Is the ETF were to get approved, would you long? No, I don't long based off of that. Sell the news, Babster. I'm purely buying and selling off of the charts. I'm assuming you're saying Bitcoin ETF has nothing to do with what I would be trading. And if anything, we've got all this ETF talk while Bitcoin is putting in bearish divergence, sell signals, putting in lower highs during all of this ETF talk. And we're looking at targets lower, regardless if an ETF, is getting talked about or getting approved. futures, 2017 futures were approved for Bitcoin and it went into a bear market, right? So no, has zero. I'm aware of what's going on in the world, right? I'm not some hermit, right? I am aware. Has zero impact on my trading whatsoever. And if anything, it's to sell the news. ETF, 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 ETF. Bearish divergence, RSI sell signals, MACD bearish crossovers, sell signals, potential bot alert sell signals in the recorded coaching, lower high. We've talked about all of this part and two shorter term targets to the downside. We'll find if it hits target 3, target 4, back below where ETH is closing, back below the 200-week moving average. Zero ETF gets approved that I'm longing it. Is based off of the strategy. It's based off of, daily. Is it getting close to a daily buy signal? Is the weekly chart bullish, right? Is it flipping around bullish? Most likely we'll be ahead of the game again, right? So that's Bitcoin. Let's go into RNDR. Let me know you're still here, Aiden Cole. And then let me know when you get a chance, please. So what part of RNDR? Are you in a short? Are you looking to long it? What are you doing with RNDR? It's good to put it into context of what your plan is, what you're doing, so we can talk about it from that level. But if you're looking at it right now, the MACD had a bearish crossover back here on the weekly chart. Never had a bullish crossover. Came back down. It got pretty far away from the MACD, right? So it's kind of letting it catch up. Price got pretty far away from the trending dots to the downside, still red. It did have a buy signal back up to the upside, but it doesn't mean that this isn't going to be a lower high, right? So you had longer term bearish divergence. And then this could be like a sneaky lower high. And then right at that level again, let's see, let me move this down. Oh, there it is. There it is. Could this be another sneaky lower high, right? So right here, got a lower high at about 56 on RSI. And then is this another lower high at 55, right? So is it going to break down? And if we drop down the lower time frame, it's probably starting to look more bearish. So is this just a bounce and then it puts in a lower high, right? So that's what we have to kind of think. And on the daily chart, also had had it was overbought and it was starting to break down. And then even on RSI, you can see that that's looking like a lower high there. Had an RSI sell signal, started to break down from. I must be on a lower time frame from here. Someone must have had me look at the 4-hour chart. Let's look at the 4-hour chart. I'm sure someone had me look at that. Had the bearish divergence, right? Had the lower high, broke down. Looks like it's kind of back testing, right? Letting the trending dots catch up and then see if it's going to continue to roll over. Daily chart, there's no sell signal yet, but is it going to break down? You can probably draw even another trend line like this, right? So it broke down from there, closing back below the trending dots. Hope that answers your question. Not sure what context you're looking at it from. Oh, okay. Yep, still here. Cautious what you think. Curious what you think about render chart. Yep, there you go. Longer term short, but looking when to get in on the short. Yeah, so it just depends on what time frame you're looking at, right? 4-hour chart was already having sell signals back here, had the bearish divergence, right? So at what point do you decide what your strategy is to get in? That's what we're not going to tell you. We're going to tell you what we're seeing, but we're not going to tell you when to buy and sell, right? It's definitely where you start to get into trouble. And I don't want that burden on me either. If I were to tell someone, even family and friends, if I told someone to buy something and then it goes down, I would feel awful if it didn't work out. So I'm not your financial planner. I'm not your trading guru. I'm just letting you know what I see. And then you have to decide what your strategy is of when, it's potentially breaking down, what time frame you're trading off of, all of that stuff as a swing trader. The last sell signal was $1.74. It's at $1.74 right now, right? Could it be back testing, kind of getting ready to a possible rollover after that? You can see after the bearish divergence, even on the 8-hour chart, it's starting to continue to roll down. Just have to decide there what time frame broke below trend line on hourly yesterday. Yep. Sweet. Thanks. You got it. You got it, my man. All right. So let's go back to so Aiden got that one. RNDR, right? Thanks, Jesse. You got it. Hey guys, awesome. Welcome back. Good evening, shooter. By the way, sniper in the house. I guess it's not showing up in the comments. Good morning. Hand pink waving. Awesome. Awesome. I love the emojis. Probably see it on the YouTube comments later. Tesla earnings on Wednesday. What's up, Jesse? Hope you have a good weekend. What did Tesla, John, are you still here? If so, what did the Tesla earnings say? Positive or negative, right? Because it looks like Tesla could be putting in that lower high. Looks like Tesla was having a pending sell signal, right? Still pending sell signal. What was Tesla earnings say on Wednesday, right? When was that? Oh, it must be next Wednesday, right? So yeah, the 18th. Yeah, so Tesla earnings, the move might already be happening, John. So I shooter, by the way, what are you laughing? Oh, there you go. There we got a laughing emoji there. It usually moves based on forward guidance. Well, I can tell you that regardless of what earnings are saying, and sometimes they use earnings as like news and on a swing trade. I'm not talking about from an investment standpoint. I'm talking about from a swing trade on like a daily chart or a lower time frame. They'll use news and push it out to help push something down or higher. So, for example, if Tesla beats earnings and we have a pending sell, everyone's waiting for that. What if they push the stock down further, right? So I don't know. It's Tesla earnings, I guess, is something to be aware of. I've seen I think it was PayPal. PayPal had positive earnings and they gapped down price like more than 10% overnight, right? So positive earnings and the stock itself crashed down. So it doesn't really mean anything to me overall. It's good for awareness, I guess, if you're trading around that day, or maybe your rule is you don't like trade until afterwards. But I can tell you there's a pending sell signal, and this is starting to look like a lower high right now on the daily chart. So and the earnings don't come out for 5 more days, right? Had a candle close below this trend line here. Maybe it kind of finds support here until the 18th, right? Kind of goes sideways and then continues downward. But the move already started to happen, in my opinion. Take it for what it's worth. I know a lot of people say differently, but I'm not a lot of people, right? So, you have to, the more you study the charts, the more you come up with your own conclusions, the more you trust yourself. And I definitely don't trust the news. I definitely don't trust earnings from a trading standpoint, right? Earnings are what they are. I'm not saying that the earnings are made up, right? I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that like they'll use positive earnings and push the stock down, right? You've got investors thinking that from a long-term standpoint, oh, Tesla earnings, yeah, they're positive or they're beat, but if you look, it's like trending downward, right? If you're looking at earnings, peaked here January 2023, lower there, lower there. Yeah, they're positive earnings, right? They're beating earnings, but they keep lowering the earnings, right? They keep lowering expectations, right? So you get these pumps up as the earnings are trending downward. I don't know if that's correlation to like rolling over as well. It keeps like getting these bounces and pumps back up all while everything's trending back down. So just be aware of like, oh, positive earnings. Yeah, but they lowered what they expected. I don't know. It doesn't play a factor for me, but pending sell signal. That's all I see. That's all I see. Lower highs. That's all I see. Will there be a sell signal on the weekly chart, right? that weekly candle is looking pretty bearish on the weekly chart, right? Will this be a lower high on the weekly chart? Too early to call it, right? Will that be a lower high, right? Will this be a lower high, right? So we'll see. We'll find out. But that's earnings. That's my thoughts on earnings. What else? Who do we have? Tesla John, you're welcome. Thank you. Boss, have you seen Solana weekly? Let's take a look at it. Arnold, are you still here? I covered it on the daily chart. Oh, pending sell on the weekly chart. Yeah, I'm expecting that, right? You got a lower high, possibly a lower high. Daily's breaking down. So Solana and Bitcoin both have a pending sell signal on the weekly chart. So that's kind of what we're watching right there. Will this be a lower high? So yeah, I did see that, very similar to, unless you're looking at something else, but I'm looking at the pending sell. Yeah, I heard. I watch every stream. Awesome. Oh, so you're on the replay crew, or maybe you just didn't comment. Some live, some. Oh, got it. What's a good near-term support for Tesla? Near term. Let's see. Probably that trend line, right? Probably that trend line. But I don't know if it's going to hold, right? If it starts closing on weekly, like it's breaking trend, right? Maybe there's like this longer term like that. That's when you're really going to know, and you're going to really start to see lower prices. This is your last line of defense, like on RSI and stuff. It starts breaking back below there, and you start to get a sell signal on the weekly chart, right? You start breaking below here. That's kind of your last line of defense that we're going to start to see possibly these targets get hit and the 200-week moving average get retested. So you got this weekly support here at 244, 245-ish, right? If you go on the daily chart, right, you've got like probably, let's see, let me turn this off for a second. You got about 240-ish. So anywhere below, like anywhere below here, John, probably something like that, right? Anywhere below here, definitely below here, we're going, I would say I'd be surprised if prices don't come down. So you look at that, it looks more bearish actually when you take off the indicator, right? At that point. So it's starting to look more bearish, right? 3 candles in a row on the daily chart. So, it's bullish until it's not, right? And so this would be the first candle close below the trending dots. The second candle close below this more vertical trend line here. You could even draw it like that and be the first candle close if you want to do that. And this is a longer term upward trend line. You start closing back below there. This would be that lower high, right? So that would be that lower high. That would be a lower high. And then you're going to see if it comes down and takes that lower low out there. Great work. Awesome. Thank you. Looks like it has another lower low in it. Seems like a short squeeze. Yep, gold. I'm talking about gold there. West Diddy, let's go. Friday. West Diddy. Oh my God. I was humbled in pickleball last night. West Diddy. I went 6-0, first time playing pickleball ever. A couple weeks ago, me and West Diddy played one-on-one. He's got a tennis background. Just keep that in mind. I don't want to beat myself up too bad. I don't have a tennis background. We played pickleball 5 games last night, and West Diddy beat me 4 out of 5. Unbelievable. So beat me 4 out of 5. I don't like it. I don't like to lose. I was humbled. I went from 6-0 to losing 4 out of 5 to West Diddy last night. Unbelievable. 2 old guys playing pickleball. I half dove for something on the court. I didn't even fully dive. That's when you know you're getting old. Babster. Oh, I missed one. Emmanuel. What's up, Jesse? Can you do update for okay, did that. And chart inch, please. Short on both at 1.715. Inch. Okay, let's take a look at it. Emmanuel, are you still here? I think I have it on the watch list from previous people asking about it. Ooh, we're already over hour 15. I'm going to have to start wrapping it up here. Let's see. Let's see. Let's kind of zoom out here, right? I mean, there's a pending buy, but it just seems like it's bouncing, right? So you had this bounce here, followed by a reversal candle on inch, right? And then a lower high put in. RSI sell signal. So the EMA is kind of trending downward, right? So is this just going to be a lower high? So any RSI close back below 60, right? Any price back below $7.84, call it 85 cents, right? It's just going to be a lower high, right? You have it's coming back into the trending dots, but it's below the trending dots. So it could just continue to like trend back down. This is a big move down, I'm assuming, right? So even from like here down is like 8%. So it's kind of retracing back up. Will it put in that lower high, right? Let's look at the weekly chart. Maybe it tells us something a little bit more. Weekly chart, right? So we have this peak up here, this rally. And then similar to Bitcoin's like, but is this going to be a lower high, right? Is this going to be another lower high? So I wouldn't say, let's see, showing some strength, right? I mean, it's possible. Don't want to, but it just seems like overall the longer term trend is down, and just seems like there's a bounce. So if you're looking at like a lower time frame, I'm sure it did look like I'm sure it does look like it's like gaining strength, right? But at the end of the day, it could just be another lower high, right? So I guess you're kind of waiting and seeing and know where you're wrong, right? And then know where there's a potential breakout to the upside. As of right now, like even on these lower time frames, you got a high, you got a lower high, you got a lower low, comes back in, puts in a lower high to a key a retracement area, and then it would continue to short back down. So you have to expect bounces along the way, right? Here, drop down, bounce, drop down, bounce. And at some point, you got to know when you're wrong, right? When the actual reversal is going to change. Comes back up, it would put in a higher low and then break out there, right? So that's what you're watching on Inch. What else? ETF covered that one. Yeah, that answer is awesome. Looking for an area to scalp a trade on Tesla to the upside before Wednesday. Okay. Do you, John? Do you, John? Do you, John? Do you, Tesla, John? Scalp it. Scalp it. Yep. Still here. Curious what you think about render chart. Yep. I think we covered that one. Render, long-term short, but looking when to get in. Okay. Yep, we covered that one. Sweet. You got it. Morning, Jess. Your target 100 likes is far too low. Grant, longtime sniper. Welcome back, my man. Thank you. I agree with you. It's not that I don't agree with you, but 1,000 is not realistic right now, right? 100 is. We're hitting 53 on the live stream. We have to hit 100 before we can hit 1,000, right? So we got to crawl before we can walk, right? So, we'll get there. One day we'll get there. It's not a concern for me. My concern is putting in the time. My concern is helping the snipers sniper the markets together. And that's what we're going to continue to do. I appreciate that, Grant. Thank you for liking it. Big supporter for a long time on the X app. Long-time sniper in the Discord since day one. I love it. It's usually moves based for guidance. Okay. Thanks, Jess, for your input. You got it. Is that hat Market Sniper? Nice. Good. Yes, Market Sniper. One of the snipers in the Discord currently, longtime sniper, owns a hat company in Australia. He only does big orders, so he doesn't do one-offs. He sent me 2 awesome Market Sniper hats. He made this for me. I kind of the only thing I did was tell him the style of the hat, and like I do like blue and the font of it, and then he created it, printed it, and sent it to me for free. I put it on one of the live streams with his website, all that stuff. So, and his name's Jesse as well. So, longtime sniper Jesse in the Discord. He does big hat orders, at least 100 hats. But he made this for me. So, yeah, shooter, by the way, he made me the Market Sniper hat. So, I appreciate that. Hi, Jesse. I am late. Apologies. Please take a look at Matic. Yep, I looked at it a little bit. Lawrence, is a lot of similarities to Ethereum, Solana, so I didn't feel like need to cover it too much. Will it start having daily closes back below the blue line, similar to Ethereum? Otherwise, everything's looking very similar to it, so I didn't spend a lot of time on it. I spent more time on Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, stuff like that, because they're all starting to look similar. I am on shorts already. Then you're probably holding, right? You're probably holding and holding, but have your exit strategy in place, and know where the reversals might be coming in, and don't be stuck to a bearish narrative, right? Hernan, I think it's Hernan. Sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's Hernan, right? Thanks for the live stream, Jesse. Thank you. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Mike G in the house. Oh my God, 3:15 a.m. Super sniper Mike G from the Discord. Long time. Another one from Australia. If you Australians get together and you guys are all longtime snipers over there in Australia. You got a whole crew over there. I know Australia is huge; it's its own continent, but still, to me, it's like one place. Now, I say Australia is like one place, but it's a continent, right? There's a lot of different places in Australia, obviously. Keep up your hard work. Thanks, my man. I appreciate it. On the Gold Coast. Oh, okay. I probably have to Google that on the map. Awesome. All right. Thanks, Jesse. Appreciate it. You got it. Lawrence, thanks. If that's it, if there's no follow-up questions, we're going to probably call it here. Hour, 22 minutes. I hope everyone has a great weekend. I hope everyone spends some time with their friends and family. I hope everyone gets outside. The markets are going to close. We know crypto is not. Futures is going to close. Stock market is going to close. All that stuff is going to close. Get outside. Do some things in real life. Get out of the charts. Get out of the digital world. With that, thank you for all of your support. I appreciate you. We're going to continue to sniper the markets together.